Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'm discussing my thoughts on Season 1, Episode 2 of the DC Universe series Titans, entitled Hawk and Dove. And, you know, I didn't know what really to expect with Hawk and Dove showing up in this series. I guess I kind of had a completely different idea of how they would be characterized in the series than what we got in episode 2. It completely went in a completely different direction, and it was not good. It was horrible. This show is horrible. I hate it. I don't like it at all. The tone deafness, the lack of personality. There's no depth of character. There's no characterization. Like, Rachel Raven is just kind of like this she's whiny, she's not very likable, she's not very sympathetic even with everything she's gone through. Dick is just kind of the closest to a human character in the entirety of the show, which carries over from the first episode. He is the most closely resembling something human, something compassionate, something empathetic, and even then he's far from perfect. Hawk and Dove themselves, I liked Dove of the pairing. I was actually thrilled going in. I did not know the cat who played Aquaman on Smallville was playing Hawk in this. Alan Richardson, I think, is the cat's name. And I loved his appearances on Smallville as Aquaman, that actually souped me up when I saw it was him. And then, like, between them trying to, like, get out of Dodge, get out of this life, this vigilante life and everything like that. I know they're not, like, supposed to be superheroes in the traditional sense and everything, but it was more like Kick-Ass, and I'm expecting Hit Girl to show up somewhere in amongst all of this, rather than DC Comics heroes in a way, to me. This edgy dark realism is like, it's just like nails down a chalkboard, It's like a memed loop of Freddy from the one movie where he has the chalkboard and he uses his claws and he just circularly, scratches the chalkboard and blows the kids like eardrums out. That's what the characterization of this show is. It's like nails down a chalkboard, or knife blades in this case. Down a chalkboard, rinse, repeat, over and over and over again. There is no approachability. There's just nothing. There's no way to connect or relate to any of these characters. Even if you've been through the loss of family members, as I have. I lost both of my parents early on in life. I've had to raise my sister, so there are aspects that I should be finding sympathetic and relatable between Dick Grayson and this girl Rachel and everything she's going through. And I was kind of getting pissed off with the way she was being. She sought him out. She's asking him for help. And then, like, they're in the hotel room, and he's like, I'm going to go get a pizza. And she's, like, not talking to him. And, like, you're only there, chick, because you found him. You sought him out. You wanted his help. Now you're going to be distanced. Now you're not going to be nice to him and everything. Like, okay, so she has trust issues and whatever like that. She is fearful that she's going to be abandoned by him. And of course, that's kind of what he has, planned out. He's going to, like, leave her with the Hawk and Dove. And he calls Alfred for a one-time, like, payment. Like, I'm going to give him $100,000 to take care of this kid. I'm going to go back to work. Is his partner dead now? Like, wow, she was in the show for a long time. A couple scenes in the first episode. One scene, basically, one or two scenes in this episode. I don't know if this is, like, something to do with Trigon. I don't know if this is something to do with Brother Blood, but I'm finding it hard to care. Because, and then we don't even get any mention of, like, Starfire or Beast Boy or anything like that in this episode to boot. They didn't even really need to appear in the first episode to begin with. Because that's the level of consequence their being there amounted to. Nothing. Nada. You had Starfire sort of like, I don't know what's going on. and then Beast Boy thieving, and just like what the hell? Oh, and then the F-bombs. F-bombs, every other word, like every other line of dialogue. Was I watching Goodfellas? I didn't know. This is why I was thinking of Kick-Ass again. Just like, forget F Batman in the first episode. It was F every other word in this thing. And like, I don't usually care. I have a vocabulary like a sailor on my best day. But this is DC Comics characters. Come on. This isn't like Marvel Knights, man. This isn't Punisher, for crying out loud. And then what was with the family of blood? Doctor Who reference. That's what this family, this wholesome, nuclear family reminded me of. How demented and sick and twisted they are. That's what made me think of like Brother Blood again. They're injecting themselves. They hunt out Dick's, detective partner and everything. Seemingly kill her. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just, just shy of actually offing her. So she'll crop up again, from a hospital bed, if she ain't dead. And like, just, I was reminded of Doctor Who. I'm trying to find anything I can grapple onto that is recognizable, anything I can grapple onto that has personality, that has some sort of characterization. And even them, it was just like, well, this is cool in theory, cool in concept, but then Daddy drops the F-bomb and it's like out the window. If they had kept them prim and proper, even in that extreme of going and torturing and murdering and everything, if they hadn't dropped the F-bomb, they wouldn't have given the tip of the hat. And that would have been that much more compelling. Like, they're beyond the edge. They're beyond psychotic. But part of that is that nuclear family aesthetic that, it just sort of shatters the window of the veneer when he drops the F-bomb. And I just thought, if it hadn't been for that, I might have been like, wow, this is kind of intriguing. This is kind of thrilling that this, 50s throwback family, this perfect family, playing frickin' Monopoly in the kitchen and arguing over the rules of Monopoly. Like, it would have been that much more intriguing if you didn't have any hint of darkness apart from when the blades come out and apart from when the bat comes out and they start fighting, that kind of thing. And just the whole episode, the idea of Dick trying to, bring Rachel and discard her the way she kind of sort of suspected he would, and she kind of called him on it. Of course, she has that sense. That's the one thing, with the Raven Rachel characterization that I'm actually like, okay, well, this is good, is her being able to sense, like that lie detector thing, like being able to sense when somebody's telling the truth or when they're lying. And she calls him on it, and and then, of course, she gets kidnapped by the end of the episode as well. And the one thing they did throw me for a loop, I will say, is I felt like they were really overly beating you over the head with the idea that Hawk was going to die by the end of the episode. I suspected that from the first moment. He's spending time with Dawn, with Dove, in the privacy of their apartment, and they're talking about, we're gonna get away, we're gonna get out of this life, we're gonna get money, we're gonna have a great, we're gonna get a little home somewhere, settle down, have kids, I'll get my hip replacement, it's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be grand, like the old World War II, aesthetic, where it's the one guy talking about going home and visiting his best girl and getting engaged and going out to Wrigley Field and watching a ball game with his dad or his little brother or whatever he left behind, and then that's the guy who gets the bullet in the head. I thought that's what they were setting up with that, and it was very obvious, and I should have seen the twist coming that nope, she gets thrown off the roof. And I can only assume, with the less than good blood that was already in existence between him and Dick, that this is probably going to really put it over the top, the hate and the disdain they have for each other, or at least he has for Dick, because of their past relationship. I had suspected maybe there was something between Dick and Dawn at one point, and I was actually surprised with the confirmation for some reason, the way they did it. Like Rachel gets a sense of it by touching Dawn's hand. And I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I thought maybe they were going to, kill off Hawk, and then she sort of gets in a relationship with Dick from then on. Like, that's kind of where I thought they were going with it. No. The relationship she had was with the air and then the pavement below when she got thrown off the roof. So like I don't know, man. And then the one jump scare they did when Rachel's alone in the hotel room and the printouts coming over Dick's computer and of the body that had all his organs, disintegrated inside. He was a bag of blood until it was drained out and all that stuff. And I hated that guy that was delivering all this information to his partner, Rohrbach, or whatever her name was, before she was tentatively killed by the family of blood, if she was in fact killed. But they show like the face on the piece of paper, and then all of a sudden it's like jumps out at you 3D, and I was like, oh Jesus. It actually got me. And I feel like that like my heart jumping into my throat carried throughout the rest of the episode, because there was just nothing genial, nothing sympathetic, nothing empathetic to latch onto. Like, it was just everybody in this show is unlikable, is seemingly irredeemable, and like, they keep playing up the fact that Robin has become like a psychopath. It seems like he's taking lives and everything, and I've heard that one of the show producers or something like that has talked about, well, the conflict that was born between he and Batman is because this is supposed to sort of loosely tie to the cinematic Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman, presumably, who is taking lives, and Robin, that was like, that was where he drew the line in the sand, and he didn't want to go that far. But to watch this, how can that be? How Robin is doing that? So I would have to assume Batman wouldn't take lives, wouldn't go to that nth degree, and Robin didn't see eye to eye with that. And, he's just no holds barred, and that's why he doesn't want anything to do with Bruce. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense with what little characterization they actually put into this show. The whole rest of the time I'm watching it, and I'm trying to like find some grain of sand, some hint that is recognizable to some sort of DC Comics characterization aesthetic that I recognize, that I can latch on to. And it was impossible. It was everything was unlikable. Everything was coarse and unrelatable and unlikable and unrecognizable with anyone who has any even remote familiarity with these characters. And I'm like, who is this show for? Like, what is the audience? Who are they shooting for? I cannot believe that this is Jeff Johns, that he has the writing credit on this, co-writing, whatever you want to say. But I mean, I can pull out my Volume 1 Aquaman New 52 book written by him, and it's stellar. This guy goes into writing a TV show, co-writing a TV show, and it's like utter garbage. It's like somebody's garbage can vomited up on the screen. There's no depth of characterization. Everything is edgy for the sake of edginess, and dark and twisted and cruel and coarse, and it is anything but what I would think of when I think of anything DC Comics related. I'm sorry, but that's the best I got. It's horrible. It sucks. I can't stand it. I am at this point, just 2 episodes in, I'm tentatively curious about episode 3, which I believe is going to focus back on Starfire. I think the title of the episode is Starfire. But I am highly considering not even watching any more of it, lest coming on to talk about how bad it is. We'll have to see. It'll remain to be seen. But my God, man. I can't believe this is Jeff Johns. I can't believe these are DC characters. I can't believe this isn't set within the Kick-Ass universe. Forget the DCEU, which is apparently on its deathbed anyway, with Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck being out ski, which just, pisses me off to all hell. This is such a shit show. It is so frustrating. It's like I'm trying to find value in it. I'm trying to find something redeemable, something relatable, something recognizable. And it has none of that. I don't know what they were thinking with this series. And with that, I'd love to hear from you guys. in the comments below. DC fan, Marvel fan, comic book movie fan, comic book TV fan, DC TV series fan, or not. Love it or hate it all. What did you, if you've watched the first 2 episodes, but specifically the second episode now, Hawk and Dove, of this new DC Universe series, Titans, what did you think of it? Let me know. You know, I will be absolutely shocked and surprised if anyone who has any remote love for DC Comics characters has any love for this. And, but who knows? I mean, it's possible. This could be the greatest thing since sliced bread for somebody out there, in any case. And I'd like to ask, if you enjoyed this video, if you'd like to support my channel and see content like this in the future, please have a look in the description below, as well as the comments, at my PayPal contribution link, where you could submit a request for content in the future that I might discuss. You can set it up for a monthly contribution or a one-time only kind of thing. Send me a personal message, you know, all that kind of good stuff. And I would just really, really appreciate it if you took the time and considered that and took a look at it. So yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. A hell of a lot better than watching this episode left me. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.